to... Nice.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for joining.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so I think that we are ready now to start. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, to be here today and join us in this introductory webinar for the Malaga Province Environment Foundation. Before we dive in, I would like to sincerely thank everyone of you for being here today. Your support is what fuels the growing wave of local grassroots action that is happening all around the world, and now it's going to start here in Malaga. So first of all, let me introduce myself a little bit. My name is Lucia Vera. I am the program manager of the Malaga Province Environment Foundation. My background brings together both academia and consulting. I hold a PhD in pollution, toxicology, and environmental health. And for the past 4 years, I have been working as an environmental consultant for the sustainability department of the Marbella Club Hotel. So for me, it's really exciting to be here because I always be very focused to work in protecting nature. And I think there is nothing more meaningful to me to be working for Malaga, because it's a region that is deeply connected to me professionally and personally. So yeah, during this webinar, we will cover several key topics, and we will introduce Conservation Collective, give an overview of the environmental context here in Malaga Province, and dive deeper into the strategy of the foundation. Also, we want to present a real example of a conservation collective foundation in Spain, Mallorca Preservation, and we also going to explain how individuals and business can support us and help us in our way. So for us, for this, we are fortunate to have an incredible lineup of speakers with us today. Ben Goldsmith, Chair and Founder of Conservation Collective, Leigh Barrett, Director of Sustainability of Marbella Club Hotel, Jade Brunevel, Executive Director of Conservation Collective, and Ana Riera, Executive Director of Mallorca Preservation. So now, Ben, I would like to pass your turn to speak. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you so much. Thank you all very much for joining us. So I love Malaga Province. We have my family has had a house for a very long time with a little finca behind Benavis. So it's a place very close to my heart. Nearly all of my family holidays since I was a child and with my own children have been spent in Malaga Province, in these hills between Benavis and Ronda. And it's a place which is deeply evocative for me. I always just remember most of all the smell, when I get in the plane and then out of the plane into the car and then out of the car, and then this feeling of silence and the smell of the pines, and at certain times of year, the smell of the wildflowers. And I just learned recently that all the scrub that covers the hills around us is known as, in English, is known as fragrant maqui, or fragrant Mediterranean maqui. And I really experienced that in April, beginning of April, when I was there after the rains, and the place was just full of wildflowers and the smell. And I think it's one of the most magical parts of the whole Mediterranean, the Malaga province in southern Spain. And so I'm really excited that the Conservation Collective team, along with friends in the coast, have decided that we should be exploring a new Malaga Province Environment Foundation. The idea is really simple. Every time, we have 21 of these foundations now in the Conservation Collective. One of them, of course, is in Mallorca, and we have Anna here on the call who's going to talk to us. But the idea is very simple. It's to bring together a group of people who love a particular place and to ask them for their time, their connections, their energy, and their money for contributing to the most effective local environmental restoration projects in that place. So in the Malaga province, there's so much happening. From the mountains down to the sea, there's so much happening. You have a really amazing recovery of wildlife. We should soon have the Iberian lynx back in Malaga province, and you have an amazing recovery of ibex, the Iberian wild goat, and you have really quite amazing fauna in the mountains around Malaga. And of course, you have this entry point where the Mediterranean becomes the Atlantic, and you have really tremendously rich seas and a beautiful coastline and extraordinary wildlife beneath the waves as well. And the threats are obvious. You have a lot of development pressure. You have some industrial agriculture. You have some industrial forestry. You have some fencing, unnecessary fencing in the landscape. You have plastics and chemicals and unregulated or unsustainable hunting. And of course, all these kind of threats are found everywhere. But what we've found is if you bring together a group of people who really love a place And together they're able to turbocharge grassroots organizations and initiatives working on these topics in that place. We found that you can achieve amazing leverage, really amazing leverage. Small amounts of money can turbocharge the work of these organizations, and they can create incredible impact, incredible change. Now, the environment is a really fun place to be a philanthropist, because it is exactly that. It's leverage. It's small amounts of money to unlock big changes. No, this isn't we're not trying to fundraise for some hugely expensive project here. So the kinds of projects we all see at these gala dinners and things, to build a new hospital or build a huge new exhibition space, or new academy schools or something. Enormous amounts of money needed to do those things. When it comes to fixing nature and bringing about profound restoration of nature, really the interventions required are pretty small. You just have to stop doing certain things and create a bit of space for nature, and boom, it comes back incredibly quickly. So the purpose of this call is to persuade you all that we should together, under the Conservation Collective umbrella, we should establish a little foundation, the Malaga Province Environment Foundation, and raise a bit of money each year, a few $100,000, we hope, if we're similar size to Mallorca and Menorca and Ibiza and the other 21 foundations, a few $100,000 a year, which will then be distributed by Lucia and her team to the most effective local grassroots environmental projects. And the Conservation Collective really knows how to do this. Like, this will be our 22nd foundation, and we handle all of the difficult stuff, the boring stuff, the HR, the legal, compliance, accounting, the impact and guidance and all of that stuff. We take care of all of that. And then we work hand in glove with a local team, which is going to be led by Lucia. And we really been really lucky to find the Marbella Club and their enthusiasm for this. The Marbella Club has jumped with both feet into this idea. They've already provided us with funding. We're already making grants. So what we need to do is build some critical mass of supporters. We really need 8, 10, 12 individual and corporate supporters, so that we can start distributing funds to local projects and start having an impact. And from there, this really will work. Like, we've done this before. We know how to do it. It works, and it will make a huge difference in the province. You will see these projects popping up all over the place that we're supporting. So you're going to hear from members of the Conservation Collective team. You're going to hear a little bit about what we plan on supporting in Malaga province. And hopefully Anna, who's joined us, will tell us a little bit about the experience in Mallorca, where we're now funding all kinds of projects across the island, really having a transformational effect in Mallorca. And Anna has built an amazing foundation there. So I really hope you'll join us. It will make me so happy to have a Conservation Collective foundation in the place that I personally love. So my fingers are very tightly crossed that you like what we have to tell you.
See you on mute.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you so much, Ben. And I would like to pass the turn to Leigh Barrett, Director of Sustainability at Marbella Club Hotel. Thank you, Lee.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. As Lucia has mentioned, my name is Leigh Barrett. I'm the Director of Sustainability for the MC Hotel Group. And one of my key responsibilities is finding NGO organizations to partner with. Every year, Jenica Shamoon, the owner of our hotel, takes 300,000 euros of the hotel's profit, and she dedicates that funding to social organizations and organizations that are taking action to protect the environment. And she does it not because she's ticking a box for ESG or trying to get a tax rebate. She does it because she genuinely wants to make an impact. So it's very important for me that her funding is spent well. And one of the biggest challenges for me has been the amount of time and effort that it has taken trying to find organizations, particularly local organizations on the ground, that are having a real impact. It's a huge amount of work. There are lots of organizations out there. A lot of them are doing awareness, organizing conferences, etc., but very few are actually doing. There are some, they're doing actual conservation action on the ground. And Ben's just mentioned that they are out there, but it's tricky to find if you're not plugged in. And even when you find those organizations that you think are the right fit, sometimes, the results, the impact is not what you expect it to be, and the progress isn't as fast as you think it's going to be. And I know I'm not alone in this situation. I've spoken to other sustainable directors and other organizations that give philanthropic funding, and they've all had a similar experience. And you only really realize this if you're deeply involved in this field. And I have the impression that the general population truly believes that all of the pressing environmental issues out there are being fixed by governments and by NGOs. And the reality is they're trying really, really hard, but they lack resources in terms of finance, they lack capacity, and most importantly, they lack vision and they lack coordination. I'm just going to give you two concrete examples of the latter. I was recently at a presentation which was covering the devastating impact of bottom fish trawling. And it's happening in Spanish national parks that are protected. And my question to the people that were presenting was, how is it possible that bottom trawling is taking place in these parks if they're protected and there's a law? I said, which organization, which government body is responsible for implementing these laws and checking on them? And they told me the Ministry of Environment. I said, well, what's happening? Are they not patrolling? And I said, yes, they're patrolling, but the Ministry of Fisheries is giving away permits in those parks to fish. So even at a government level, the communication isn't happening. And then just a local example, we've been supporting a seahorse conservation project for the last 4 years. We've been mapping seahorses along the coast from Malaga to Fuengirola and counting the population, checking the habitat distribution. And there's an organization just down the road doing exactly the same thing. And it makes no sense. If we had pulled our resources together, we would have had double the impact. So that's why, for me, Conservation Collective is a complete game changer, because they recognize that the current model for biodiversity conservation isn't working. And particularly, they recognize that NGOs and governments cannot do this alone. They need the help of businesses like the Marbella Club and private individuals who want to have an impact to get on board and take a more active role. And what I particularly like about Conservation Collective, having been working with them the last 2 months, is that they're very keen for businesses and individuals to not only provide funding, but also be part of the decision-making process and decide which projects get commissioned. So that's a completely new concept for biodiversity conservation. And the thing that's most unique is that they identify all of these key specialized individuals and organizations that really are having an impact on the ground. They unite them under one umbrella and get them to work on a strategic vision for a particular region, in this case, the Malaga region. And they do that by addressing the biggest obstacle for conservation, which is competition for funding. And this, I have a background in biodiversity conservation, and I can say it is a really big problem. And when I read about Ben and Jade's model, I thought, wow, this is genius. This really is a game changer. So what they do is they do all the hard work of finding the funds, talking to people like yourselves, reaching out through their connections. They gather those funds, they centralize them, and then they strategically give them out to organizations that are having an impact, and particularly organizations that are willing to work together. And they set clear KPIs, they audit the results, and they make sure the organizations are having an impact, and they also build capacity where there are weaknesses in particular areas. So in other words, the Conservation Collective runs like an NGO. Runs like a business instead of an NGO. And during the time that the organizations are working with them, the NGOs become accustomed to operating more like businesses and developing and delivering results. So for me, this is why the Marbella Club has committed 50,000 per year for the next 3 years. I have every confidence that with this new model of conservation, that it's going to deliver. As I mentioned, I've been working with the team the last couple of months. I'm very impressed with the level of professionalism. Lucia, I know from she's been working with me the last 2 years. I couldn't think of anyone more suitable to run the projects. And for us, it's a really safe, low risk, high impact investment that's going to have guaranteed results. I know that if we were to put that 50,000 a year into one organization, it wouldn't have as much impact as putting it into this portfolio of projects that Lucia is going to talk about shortly. So I would strongly encourage any individual, any company in the region that wants to have an impact to join us on this journey and do it in a really strategic, unified way. And I believe the way forward is with the Conservation Collective, Malaga Environment Preservation Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jade. Thank you so much. So now I think that is the moment to share a close look at the Malaga Province Environment Foundation. Has Ben and Lee has explained it, explained it so well during this time. This foundation was created with a clear purpose, that is to protect and restore the land and sea of Malaga Province, while fostering awareness and collaboration among all the local community, experts, business, and decision makers. Like all the conservation collective foundations, our mission is to build a strong, connected community made up of individuals, companies, environmental groups, and public institutions that share knowledge, resources, and opportunities, creating a solid base for impactful grassroots environmental actions. We believe in the genuine synergy where people work together in a spirit of collaboration and mutual enrichment. So about the way that Malaga Province Environment Foundation works, we act as an environmental Kickstarter. What does it mean? This means that first, we raise funds from people and business who care deeply about Malaga and feel strong connections to this region. Then, under the direction of our steering committee that is made up of founders of the foundation and with the guidance of our advisory group of local experts, we make sure that these funds go to the most effective grassroots environmental projects. But we don't just fund projects, it's exactly what Lead said. We also provide ongoing support, tools, and knowledge to help local environmental heroes make the most of their efforts, amplify their impact, and gain the visibility that they deserve. As you already know, Malaga Province Environment Foundation is part of the Global Conservation Collective network of foundations. This means that we share the same vision and the same values, working together to face the world's most important environmental challenge: restoring natural areas, reduce the pollution, protect native biodiversity, and helping communities become more resilient to climate change. So let me introduce a little bit, very quickly, the global family of the Foundations of Conservation Collective, because as Ben mentioned, we are right now like 21 foundations, and we are growing all the moment, with 14 foundations focused in the Mediterranean region and reaching out to areas as dispersed as the Caribbean or Sri Lanka. For Malaga Province Environment Foundation, being part of this global community meets everything for us. It's fundamental and inspiring. We have the ongoing support of the Conservation Collective team, but also we have the resources and the knowledges again for all the different foundations during their work and during their journey. This makes our work easier, but also more effective, being part of much global movement, working together with confidence and purpose. So now I think that is the moment to talk a little bit about Malaga Province, because I think that all knows the special identity, history, and culture that Malaga Province has. Which is the birthplace of Pablo Picasso and Blas Infante, who defended Andalusian identity. It's the land full of flamenco fairs, the sand at the beach. It's also a place with unique symbols like the biznaga and a rich Mediterranean cuisine like the famous espetos. But today I want to focus on something just as important, Malaga's nature, because it's the province home to an incredible, amazing wildlife and natural spaces, very diverse. Of course, all of you know Malaga's marine and coastal environments. Its waters, like Ben said, belongs to the Alboran Sea, where the Mediterranean meets to the Atlantic. And in this special place, you can find amazing wildlife like the sperm whales, the fin whales during the migration. There are also orcas, dolphins, sea turtles, and many types of species. Beneath the waves, you can find an amazing bursting with light from delicate seahorses to colorful communities of sponges, corals, and mollusks. And across the province, we can find 4 marine protected areas that are helping right now in a limited way to protect its biodiversity. And of course, we must talk about underwater meadows, especially those formed by the Posidonia oceanica, a seagrass species endemic from the Mediterranean. As you may know, these meadows are currently on the tree, but yet in Malaga, we can find areas where resilient populations are growing. These species play a vital role for us and for all the Mediterranean biodiversity because they keep our water clean, protect the coastlines, support marine biodiversity, and capture the CO2, helping us to fight climate change effects. And we can't forget another different Malaga's coastal landscapes with amazing cliffs, sand dunes, and wetlands like the Desembocadura del Guadalhorce natural sites, which provides an essential resting and feeding place for many migratory birds on their long journeys. But Malaga is not only about the sea. We must talk about the inland natural areas because Malaga is recognized as the most important inland natural habitats in the whole of Andalusia, and also is recognized as the second most mountainous province in Spain after Asturias in the north of the country. We must talk about Sierra de las Nieves National Park, together with the famous Doñana or Sierra Nevada. This area is also recognized as an UNESCO Biosphere Reserve that hosts around 70% of the world's population of Spanish firs, thus are trees endemic to the mountains of Andalusia. The province also features 4 natural sites in the mountains and other stricken landscapes like the Torcal de Antequera, famous for the ibis and the dramatic rock formations. There are also 3K natural reserves for birds, including the Laguna de Fuente de Piedra, the largest saltwater lagoon in Andalusia and the main breeding site for pink flamingos in Spain. As you can imagine, these land-based ecosystems are home for extraordinary wildlife, from the iconic Iberian ibex, a symbol of Malaga mountains, to the wild boars, black turtles, and the endangered Iberian imperial eagle. And not only the big and strong fauna, these habitats are also home to fragile endemic species like the Sierra de las Nieves butterfly or the critically endangered betted white toad. However, Malaga's nature is facing right now significant threats and impacts, and that's precisely the reason that we are here today talking with you. Across both land and sea, natural areas are suffering from fragmentation and degradation, mainly driven by sustainable urban and industrial expansion and development. And sea, unsustainable fishing practices, heavy maritime traffic, and careless land anchoring undirectly damaging the seabed and the biodiversity it supports. On land, intensive agriculture is reducing the ability of food, shelter, and breeding grounds for wildlife. To make this worse, this activity comes with a heavy dose of pollution. Of particular concern are untreated wastewater discharges into rivers and direct industrial outflows into the sea. In fact, Malaga has recently been identified as the Andalusian province with the most polluted coastal waters for these reasons. This pollution also comes directly from inefficient waste management, as it is estimated that in the province only the 10% of the waste is optimally recycled. In addition, we must highlight the growing threat posed by invasive alien species. Several non-native plants, animals, and algae, many of them from Asia, are spreading across Malaga ecosystem, putting native wildlife at risk and disrupting ecological balance. Some of them, like the famous zebra mussel or the tiger mosquito, even affect public health and economy, adding yet another layer of complexity to the environmental challenge we are facing here. But this doesn't end here. Another deeply worrying human pressure in Malaga province is the unsustainable consumption of the water resources. This is mainly driven by 2 key sectors. The agriculture, of course, particularly irrigated subtropical crops that are very famous in this region, and also the tourism, which in many cases is intensive and far from sustainable. The situation is so fragile that several droughts have become increasingly frequent. The most recent, the last year 2023, that launched through the summer of 2024, highlighting just how urgent and delicate as is the problem of the water scarcity here in the province. Lastly, but not less important, we must talk about the tangible impact of the climate change that are already affecting the region. With rising average temperatures, more frequent droughts, and increasingly intense torrential rain events, the risk of wildfires and floods are growing year after year. In fact, in the last 4 years, over 9,000 hectares of mountain forests have been lost to fire. And more recently, just this past November, along with the terrible events that happened in Valencia due to the Dana, Malaga also suffered several flooding events that could declare the affected cities as catastrophic areas. In response to this growing environmental impact and challenge, a number of local environmental groups, associations, research institutions, and government bodies are working tirelessly in the region. However, despite all this energy, conservation efforts in the region are often slowed down, limited, and in some cases paralyzed due to several barriers. As late Barrett has said, the continued lack of funding is like one of the main barriers because it forced the organizations to compete each other by the resources. Fragmentation among local actors, often due to the lack of communications, that can result in duplicated actions and diluted impact, even when intentions are goals are aligned. Also, the inefficient administrative processes here in Andalusia, with slow and complex permitting procedures that often make very difficult to move the projects forwards. And perhaps most critically, the lack of collaboration between all the stakeholders, including the government, environmental organizations, experts, and the private sector. This makes it harder to share knowledge, join forces, and create strong, more coordinated actions. So taking all these issues into account, Malaga Province Environmental Foundation has created its mission and approach. So let me now present the global vision and strategy of the foundation that is going to follow the following goals. The first, promote support and collaboration between the regional scientific community, local conservation groups and governments to optimize resources, time and efforts dedicated to environmental actions and expand their scope. Second, to raise awareness and educate the local population about the values of the nature's spaces of the province, their biodiversity, and the resources that they provide to us, and also improve understanding about the power of the impact mitigation and adaptation actions. And third, fostering environmental responsibility in the private sector with special attention to the local agricultural producers and the hospitality industry, providing trainings and tools to facilitate the transition to a more sustainable activity. To achieve these aims, the Foundation will support existing projects and will progressively foster the connection and synergy of correlated actions to maximize environmental, social, economical, and political outcomes. The projects will it will cover several topics in too many ways, like since the reforestation of the forests, Posidonia, conservation actions, cleanups, rewilding. Everything's gonna be focused in 4 areas of impacts that are the following: terrestrial conservation, marine and coastal conservation, deeper participation toward resilience and mitigation, and sustainable resource and waste management. So now, thank you so much for your attention. I will be very happy to introduce you to Ana Riera, that is going to show you a real example of Conservation Collective Foundation. So thank you, Ana.
Thank you, Lucia, and congratulations for the launch and for the work you are already doing. Well, I would like to explain very briefly the Mallorca Preservation's work for the last 8 years. Maybe you can go to the first slide. Can I change it or not? Okay. Okay. So Mallorca Preservation. Sorry. Yes.
Yes. No. You can control remotely if you want. You prefer? I can pass the slide if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. I just 4 slides, so it's going to be very easy. Well, we have been working since 2017 to preserve our environment. We do this by involving the community and raising funds to support and promote local conservation projects. So the philosophy is the same for all the foundations of the Conservation Collective. The structure, maybe you can change. Thank you. The structure we have is the same as other Conservation Collective foundations. We have a local team that do the day-to-day work. This team now is by the executive director. It's me, and then there's a project manager. She's Irene, and she's in charge of being more involved on the day-to-day projects. And then the communication and impact manager, which is a very important part of the structure. Then there is the steering committee that contributes its experience and the contact they have, and they fund the work that is done. It's very important to have a steering committee that it's involved. that it's supportive and really is keen to provide their time and their contacts and the experience they have with the local team. This is the one of the first things we learned working with Mallorca Preservation. There, as an essential part of the structure, is the advisory group. It's made up of a group of experts. They are volunteers and they provide their experience and their time to help us to choose the projects with the greatest impact. But as the technical support is very important for us, especially in some projects, more technicals, we are always seek to consult experts or on more technical projects if there is not a person on the advisory board that it's able to provide that experience or knowledge. Lucia, si puedes pasar. So I like this slide. I use it a lot on the presentations we do because I think it's a good way to show the work and the evolution of the foundation. You can see that we have been working for 8 years, but almost all has happened in the last 5 years when we began to be able to raise funds that allow us to support more and more projects and create a community that really trusts Mallorca Preservation and feels they are part of what we do. Just at the beginning, like explained, start a project like this is very difficult, and being able to show the positive impacts of most of the projects it's very hard. So in these years, we have been able to raise more than 1.3 million euros, which more than 880,000 euros have been allocated to around 40 conservation projects. But as I said, most of this work has been done in the last 5 years. From the 2020, we started working with local business, and that made a difference. To be able to receive funding from local businesses allow us the possibility to grow, to increase the team, and to be able to fund more projects. So I think that it's very key for our evolution. I say this because I think that I want to highlight the need to raise a minimum amount of funds in order to fulfill our funding objective. I know that it's one of what this presentation is looking for, not to involve people, because although it is possible to work with a minimal resources, as we have been done for many years, the possibility of grow in a way that's exponentially when resources increase a little bit. That you can see in this slide. The green line is the expenses of the running expenses that has grown in the last years, but the growing of the donations that we receive and the donations that we can provide to projects, it's great. So I think that it is worth it to raise this amount of money. Yes, you can see here when I was working alone for 5 years, and it's very clear when my partner Maria joined us as a communication manager. So we were able to communicate and to create the content to share with everyone. So from then they were able to know who are Mallorca Preservation, and especially with our donors, helping us to build their loyalty, because we were providing the information they need to understand the work we are doing, which is very, very, very important. So just a summary about the 2024, the donation sources, mainly from foundations and ambassadors, and this is a summary of the last years, as I explained. The different income sources. I think it's interesting because it changes depending on the year, but our mainly income sources is the ambassadors. They are local businesses that they not only donate an amount of money, but also create a networking among their clients that already know us and they are able to support us. Vale, Lucía, perdona que me enrollo con este tema. And just a summary of the work we do, the impacts of 2024, we are very, very, very happy. I would like to highlight that in the last 2 years we have been able to plant 2,040 fruit trees for agricultural use. We have been able to fund trainings for farmers in regenerative farming. We have been replacing plastic in agriculture, mulching plastic. So since 2019, more than 850 linear kilometers of plastic have been replaced. We have been working with the students, and I think that now we are in a position that we can say we are been having an impact in both environment and local community, which is our goal, and we are very happy with that.
Amazing, Anna.
Thank you. I think
Thank you.
I tried to do it short. It's complicated, but I think it's a good summary.
No, totally. It was amazing. Thank you so much. So I would like to end the webinar with Jade Pronevel, Executive Director of Conservation Collective, that she's going to explain how, in more detail, how the individuals and business can support us, and what are our long-term impacts and goals. So thank you, Jade.
Thanks, everybody. Really amazing speeches from everyone so far. And I remember the early days, Anna, those first couple of years, and then just so rewarding seeing that uptick in your sort of activities and income. It's very cool. I'm going to not talk for too long because I really want to give us a bit of time for kind of questions and discussion from people. But broadly, I'm just going to add a little bit about what we're hoping will kind of come out of this call, which is to find new supporters to join Conservation Collective and Marbella Club Hotel. So there are various different ways you can get involved. I suppose what we're looking for are founding donors who might become steering committee members as well. And that might entail an annual donation. We've put in the realm of between 10 and 25,000, but it's been a real range across the other foundations depending on people's ability to give. And I suppose what their other potential to get involved is. So I think, one of the transformational moments in Anna's chart she just showed was when the chair, her second chair, who was Hans Lenz, who was a managing director at a property firm, I think. So he came in and he was a donor himself, but he was absolutely transformational in bringing his own networks and spreading the word about the foundation that was relatively not very well known at the time, but had started to build a track record, but it really started to build awareness about the work amongst the business community. So I think it's kind of bringing in people, as we said before, who can bring their energy and passion and funding, but also kind of open new doors to friends and family. And I think also maybe that's what makes it sort of fun to be involved with. So for Jenica and Lee on the steering committee to bring in, friends and colleagues within either the kind of corporate and hotels community, but also sort of personal friends, so that you get to do this work, which is really rewarding with a group of people who kind of really share a similar ethos to you. So we're looking for those founding members and steering committee members. Of course, we're also looking for people who might just want to give an annual donation but don't have the time to be involved, and they can join our events. They could just read the newsletters if that's all they have time for. But there are those different levels of getting involved. And then on the corporate side of things at the Conservation Collective, we worked with businesses in a whole range of different ways. One way that's been successful that Jenica and Lee have kindly done for the Ibiza preservation through their hotel in Formentera is €1 per table. And that's actually adding just an additional kind of amount onto a bill so that customers support the environment locally through their kind of different bills that they're paying, and that the hotels then get to kind of, I suppose, spread the word about the work being done through little cards on the tables or through their kind of newsletters. We've worked with villa rental companies. We've worked with brands that add on a percentage per sale. A whole range really, and some of that's done locally, but we also manage some of that in my team here at Conservation Collective. There are sort of 5 or 6 people on this call. We've got a real range of different specialists and experts, and one of those is the kind of management of corporate partnerships to help channel funding through to boost projects locally. So on the, I've just skipped through, I'm not really following where the slides are. Oh, there we go. So if we go on to that last slide, I think the most important thing really is the kind of where we're at on the timeline. So with Lucia's help, we've developed this amazing scoping study and strategy document, with the Marbella Club Hotel support, we've raised nearly half of the goal. And so what our next moment really, I suppose, as a milestone will be launching our application process for grassroots groups in the region some of whom Lucia has been in touch with throughout the scoping process. Some might be new, and inviting them to apply for grants. And so we'll spend the summer reviewing some of those grants and hopefully giving out 3 potentially with the funds that we've got over the summer, and continuing to fundraise to hope that we can reach our target of 150 grand by the end of the year, so we can start that grant cycle becoming a kind of 3-4 time a year program. And we really hope that, you know, as we grow, as Anna mentioned, you know, as the story and the narrative of what we're doing increases, we can really bring in more people. Shall we move to questions?
Yay, thank
Also,
you.
because someone just joined me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the speakers, also for the vision, experience, and the passion for the nature. And of course, many thanks for all of you that joined us today. I think that we reached the end of today's webinar. So I will like to open the floor to any questions, doubts that may you have. So thank you so much.
I think there's a hand up somewhere. I know
Yes.
that's on the chat.
Hello, Santiago.
Could I jump in? Well, first, I mean, apologies since I arrived late, and but anyway, congratulations for your foundation, and I guess all the participants here, if I may talk on behalf of them, we very much, I mean, support your aim, your mission, and we are in love with Malaga. So count on us, you know, to spread the word. And in my case, I'm president of a university, so what I offer, in case it's of interest for your foundation, is the talent of my students. So some of them can actually work as interns. They may come, you know, from business degrees, law, and they may provide you with advice as regards, you know, the strategy, including, you know, how you can actually target potential donors, how to assess, you know, the potential growth, how to manage the finances, or from the side of, you know, economy or architecture and design, law, technology, in case you need, you know, to design any particular, you know, platform or CRM. So we have a very talented pool of students. So in case you can count on them, they can actually participate and support, you know, your activities and provide you with that very valuable advice. No, this is what I can tell. And just very quickly, of course, if we can help you identify potential contributors or partners. I'm also on the board of some other foundations, and I'm afraid that I have to fundraise, to support the scholarships of students at my own university. But I'm very familiar with the business, so very willing, you know, to share experiences and to support your mission. But thanks very much for inviting us to this presentation.
Thank you so much, Santiago. Amazing. No, that would be fantastic. In fact, we are developing our advisory board, so it would be amazing to have like someone of your students to help us in some specific areas. So, for example, I don't know, sustainable development, architecture, green energy. Everything would be amazing to have the experience and knowledge about that. And about your network, for sure, of course, it would be amazing that you help us to spread out the foundation and to help us to reach to more people and business. So thank you so much, Santiago. Yes, Juan, you can mute. Yes, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Lucia. Well, thank you everyone for the presentation. That was very nice. I get to know the Conservation Collective already with working with Anna in the past, although I don't know if Anna remembers when I was in Plastic Oceans and we were convincing you to become a blue community back in 2020, I think. So yeah, I've been following the journey of Conservation Collective, and it's very happy that it's recently starting in Malaga, because I moved to Malaga literally 6 months ago. So I have two questions, more like practical. In terms of like projects, because you have been mentioning how you have, well, you're basically covering all the spectrum of environmental work, but is there kind of like a line that feels more like interesting for you? Because from what I know, like Mallorca is doing a lot of regenerative agriculture, I think. I know that Ben is really focused about rewilding because I follow him on LinkedIn. Is there kind of like 2 or 3 areas that you are more focused than others? And the other question would be, in terms of funding grassroots movements, which kind of like, in which scale of donations are we talking about? Which quantity? Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. So about the areas of the impacts that we are focused, as you know, Malaga is very intense, and the environmental problems are very diverse. So our idea is to be more general in the way of the areas of impacts, because there are so many things that we can support and help. So the idea is to be focused in the terrestrial conservation, marine and coastal conservation, actions related with the climate actions, resilience and mitigation actions that could be agricultural, regenerative agriculture, or maybe actions related to local community, or maybe sustainable resources and waste management. But our area is very general because Malaga is huge. Malaga is huge and the problems are very diverse. So we don't have any specific focus on something specific, so that is the idea. Right now, as Jade has said, we would like to open the calls for proposals very, very soon. And the idea is to receive all the ideas of the projects. We don't have any specific target right now in that case. And about the quantities, it's going to be depending of the target, no, Jade, that we're going to achieve in that moment. I think so.
Yeah, I think we've got kind of 5 to 10,000 a grant for I think the average across the network is now 15,000. So we are on the smaller grassroots end, but that, as you can see in Anna's charts, also then kind of obviously grows as the income grows with the foundation.
But it's amazing to know that, for example, you are interested to participate and to apply. Would be amazing.
I would love to. Yeah, I will get in touch. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or observations?
I was trying to raise my hand, but I'm just going to do it in video if I may.
Go for it.
So I'm I don't know, technology. My name is Sonsoles Jimenez. I'm the executive director of Exploramas. It's a experience company that we work for. We do team building experiences for corporations, and I think maybe recently we did one in Marbella Club together with the convention bureau. And we were very pleased to be also invited to this meeting because as our objective, our purpose is to develop experiences that can impact positively in society and the environment. And we've been known for the 25 years that we've been working so far as a company or brand related to sustainability and corporate social responsibility. In that sense, we would love to be part of this project. We will have to discuss as to how, but regarding impactful projects that are already ongoing, we could provide examples and them for them to fund or to suggest for funding. We could probably direct some of the events that we do, some of the raise some funding to the projects that as the foundation designs or start working on. And also in my case, I'm also a researcher related to several universities and participate with the EU CAP in different expert groups. So I am more than happy to be able to contribute to the network and also our work, so we can make this new foundation in Malaga a reality, and more importantly, the causes that are in need to be able to be covered.
Amazing,
Brilliant.
Sonsoles. Great.
Thank you. We could definitely have a follow-up conversation with
Totally.
you, Lucia.
Yeah, I didn't say anything, but if someone want to catch up with me, I write the email in the last slide, so take note of my email, and we can continue the conversation by there. I think that Soledad is waiting, no?
There's a hand up from Soledad.
Yeah, Soledad, tell me.
Yes, thank you. Very briefly. First of all, congratulations. Soledad Gallego from Client Earth, Spain and Mediterranean. Congratulations to the Conservation Collective for this new foundation in Malaga. It's a very, very exciting project. And just offer, as Jade and all the friends of the Conservation Collective know, offer just to explore potential collaboration as we have explored it before with the foundations in Greece, in Italy, and also we have been having conversations around the Mediterranean. So happy to keep in contact and to explore potential collaborations. Congratulations.
Thank you, Soledad.
Thank you, Soledad. We will
Amazing.
definitely come to you for advice on all things Client Earth.
Yes, for sure. Someone want to ask me something in Spanish. Si alguien quiere preguntar algo en español, también sentirse libres y yo hago de traductora. Y si no, if someone has another question. I think that we already know.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Oh, Pilar.
Pilar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Lucia. First of all, congratulations again, because it was an amazing work, that the one that you are starting right now, and I hope that I wish you the best of luck for this journey, because it's a complicated journey. We have seen for many years what is happening in the Mediterranean and also in the Malaga province, with many changes in the environment. But from IUCN Med, that we have been working for a long time in different issues that you mentioned today. So we are also open to speak further in the different issues, even marine. My specialty is marine, so I'm very open to talk about that. But yeah, in the office we also work in terrestrial issues, water and agriculture, etc. So let's keep in touch. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you, Pilar, for sure.
And I have one further question. When you talk about grants, you also think on co-funding these funds or not?
Good question, Pilar. I think that maybe, I don't know yet, you can answer better this question. You are in mute. Jade?
Sorry, hi, I've just had a real tech nightmare today. But yes, we do plenty of co-funding with different organizations, absolutely. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting thing to explore with you guys.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much, Pilar.
Brilliant.
So, brilliant.
Thank you so much, everybody. Lucia, I guess we'll follow up directly and be available for any calls or kind of questions if they come to people afterwards. And thank you so much for putting it together.
Yeah, thank you so
Done a
much for
great
being
job.
here.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Good luck, Lucia.
Thank you so
Bye,
much, Anna,
everyone.
Ben, Arlie. Thank you so
Bye.
much for everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Lucia.
Bye-bye. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
For presentation, everyone. Really
Perfectly
executed.
Thank you so much, Yannicka and Pilar. Thank you. We keep in touch, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.